Sorry about that. Let's do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make this a lot easier. Yo, so the topic of this live is the Venezuela, but until we get people who are interested in talking about Venezuela, we're just gonna talk about shit. So once people come who want to talk about Venezuela, let me know. And you know, let's see. By the way, Mena asked how I feel about India today, bro. Honestly, I feel about India the same as I do pretty much every single day, which is India sucks. Um, yo, what's up? Okay, give me 1 second. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna actually share the screen. I'm gonna share the screen right now. We're here. You think America's taking Venezuela? No, I don't think so. I think that we're just gonna, um, what? Oh, okay. All right, let's do this. No, that sucks. You know what? I'm gonna stop trying to get fancy. All right, lines are open. If you want to talk about Venezuela, put in a request to be a guest, and we can start doing this. Do I think there's going to be a lot of investment opportunities in Venezuela? Um, a lot of people think there's going to be a lot of investment opportunities in Venezuela, but like you gotta realize, like, yes and no. There is, if you invest money in Venezuela, you are going to be able to make money, but like you're not going to be making the money the way that a lot of people think that they're going to be making money. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to be able to go there and actually like buy some real assets. That being said, if you're, you know, like if you just go and buy a house, like that's going to be an asset that's going to appreciate a lot in value. You know what I mean? Um, 34. Um, let's see. Try to invite some people to do multi-guest. What country do you live in? I'm in Bolivia right now. Um, real truth. Yeah, I mean, awesome. We got some people joining. Sí, hablo español muy bien. Yeah, what up? What up, real truth?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, man.
Paulie?
Let's
Hey,
talk.
what's up, buddy?
Let's talk Venezuela, man.
Yeah, it's just kind of shocking. I was curious. Just I see a lot of people online talking about real estate, and real estate costs are pretty cheap, but it seems like be so chaotic, and then how unstable it would be. What do you think about the instability of it? I mean, is America even going to be able to handle this? I could see Cuba, but Venezuela is so large and such a complicated thing. I don't. What? I'm just curious. You're more. Your wife's from Venezuela, and your ideas on that.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think that the more that you learn about Venezuela, the more of a shit show I think it's actually going to become. I heard Marco Rubio talking about how like different Venezuela is to Iraq, and actually, like if you
Yeah.
look at the history of Venezuela, how's it going? It's not like I think I actually I've become a lot more pessimistic on like what I think is going to happen. So, for example, like um, Venezuela had so in their first 70 years of their history, they had about 16 civil wars. You know what I mean? And they literally
Yeah.
kept on having coup after coup after coup to the point where they had to like literally put in like a constitution outlawing
Are they
coups.
gonna attack Cuba next?
I think definitely. I think Cuba was always the goal because Marco
Right.
Rubio is Cuban, right? And like that's
Right.
and like one of the main things
Wait,
that's
I did
like
not know that. Yeah.
yeah. So Marco Rubio. So this is more of like an American politics type of thing. By the way, if other people want to join, feel free to request. But like South Florida is basically is like a second Cuba, right, in Miami, right?
Bro, that's what I'm at. Yeah, literally.
And they have one goal, which is to liberate Cuba from communism. And so Marco Rubio was basically like his entire political reason for existing has been to liberate Cuba from communism. So basically, Maduro has been supplying Cuba with a lot of money. One thing that happens with a lot of communist countries, this happened with North Korea, this happened with Cuba itself a bunch of times, is that a lot of them are dependent on other communist countries, right? So Cuba was actually in a really good position from 1960 to 1991 when they were relying on the Soviet Union. But when the Soviet Union collapsed, that's when a lot of the poverty set in. And so when Chavez came in 1998, he started supplying Cuba a lot of money, allowing the regime to like remain stable, right? So from Marco Rubio's perspective, what he's doing is he's trying to, you know, get rid of the thing that's helping Cuba stay afloat.
Have you been to Cuba, Paulie?
I haven't been. I really want to go there.
Yeah, I plan on going
I went.
this year.
I went in June, and I mean, it is a total shit show. Yeah, they all get their money from American relatives or Venezuelans. But yeah, like you said, the Soviet Union really kept them up. But I think the country, I mean, being there, I felt the country is about to collapse.
Yeah,
it's a
where'd you
total
go?
disaster.
Tell us more about your trip, man. I really like. I've had a bunch of people who told me to visit Cuba, and I mean, a lot of people who went and like, I want to go, but a lot of people who never went are like, you should go to Cuba, and I'm like, well, you've never been to Cuba. Why are you telling me to go somewhere you've never been? But anyway, would love to hear your thoughts about it.
Yeah. Well, it's just a state. I stayed right by Revolutionary Square. It's just a state. I just stayed in Havana, and it's just everything's dilapidated. There's trash everywhere. Electricity goes out daily. There's no internet. You got to buy internet cards. A lot of places, restaurants and stuff. The stores and everything be all closed. The buildings kind of collapsing in on itself.
Wait, Truth, I want to ask a question because I plan on going there probably in a few months.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know like the infrastructure and stuff was bad, but you're saying there's no Wi-Fi?
Well, you have to buy an internet card at the airport, and then you get like an hour time or 2 hour time card. Then you can use Wi-Fi.
That sucks.
That kind of sucks.
Yeah, that's how
I
that works.
plan on staying there for like 2 weeks, but I don't know. That sounds like
2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then also everything's black market. So the exchange rate, I think it's 125 pesos to $1. But on the street, you can get 400 pesos to $1.
Oh, okay.
So don't go there and just be like, don't take the government's. I mean, there'll be people with big like backpacks, and they'll find out you're American. And they'll say, "I'll give you 350 pesos for $1." It's all over the place.
Yeah. I don't think that Venezuela is gonna actually become a U.S. state, but I definitely think that it's gonna become a dependency. What thing I think is funny is that a lot of liberals are like, "Oh, Trump is just going into Venezuela for the oil," but then so I like half of my Instagram feed is Venezuelan Instagram because my wife uses my phone, And so literally it's like video after video of Venezuelans being like, we don't give a shit that they're only coming in for the oil. Why do you think the Russians are here? Why do you think the Chinese are here? Everyone only cares about our oil. If Americans sack Maduro and our life becomes better, they can have the fucking oil. Who cares? So I think it's an interesting way that people in other countries view things versus Americans. I think a lot of Americans, especially Americans on the left, have this really coddled view of the world where it's like trying to create the perfect situation. But you only have that because you're born on the Upper East Side of New York City, and you spend $35 for a sandwich every day. People in Venezuela who are starving,
That's a
they're
good
like,
point, yeah.
I don't give a shit. Like, you know, and I think this is a larger point where like a lot of people are like, you can't. It doesn't matter what the consequences are. It matters why you did it. You know what I mean? Like if it is good consequences, even if you did it for the wrong, like it's bad. Sorry, if you did something for the wrong reason, even if it has good consequences, it doesn't matter. But if you're living on the edge of starvation in Venezuela, you're like, I don't care why he did this shit. You know what I mean? Like, I just care that it was done.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, but the oil thing does, because if it was simply about, stopping drug trafficking, he probably would have went after Colombia or Mexico first. It's just
Or
a
Mexico.
coincidence. It's just a coincidence that, Venezuela has the highest oil reserve. And, they take out, Maduro, on the premise of we're stopping drugs from coming into the country.
No, I think you're right. Like, one thing that's important to remember about this is that the whole idea of it being for stopping drugs was 100% lie, right? It was like if you want to stop fentanyl coming to the United States, you should um, you know go after Mexico. That's where 98% of all the fentanyl is coming through the southern border of Mexico, right? The whole drug thing was a complete red herring. That being said, like, yeah, I think it is good. Not red herring is a complete lie. But that being said, I do think it's good for America for us to get that oil. And then on top of that, I think it's good for Venezuelans. If you look at the history of Venezuela, basically, the better they were at extracting oil, the more politically stable and prosperous they were. What up?
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I think that premise is very questionable because while maybe US oil companies could get involved and invest money into their oil infrastructure, whatever, if that scenario plays out, it's more likely that that oil that's extracted is basically exclusively being the only profiteers of that will be those oil companies. The Venezuelan people will not see any of that profit or that money.
The Venezuelan
So it's
people
just
don't
gonna
see
be
any of
straight
that
up
money right
imperialism.
now.
Well, they don't because their economy is completely inept. I'm not saying Maduro is a good leader,
Yeah.
but under like the Chavez administration, like at least the early parts, they were pretty well off until their economy fell apart because their government became incompetent later on, right?
Yeah. So
I think it's a bit of
This
a
is-
strange premise.
Yeah, so this is kind of the issue, right? Is that like I think you have the causality backwards, right? So what happened was that Chavez took over an oil infrastructure that had been run by Americans and had been run very competently by Americans, right? And that's why it was able to produce so much oil. After enough time of it being run by Chavistas and not Americans, it became incompetent, right? But to have a oil system that's run by Chavistas and is competent is impossible because at the beginning it wasn't like that. You know what I mean? It's like if a CEO takes over a new or it's like if a president takes over the country and on January 21st it's like the best economy ever. And it's like, I'm responsible for this. It's like, no, this was all done by the people before you.
That could be 100% true, and my point could still stand because
What do you mean?
the actual effectiveness of the oil refinery industry and management of the oil industry of Venezuela and who controls the profits of those industries are two different things, right? Because when their oil industry was nationalized, they were able to control the profits from the.
Sure, but I mean, the oil industry was nationalized in the 1970s. and it wasn't under the direction of Chavistas, right? It was under the direction of PVSD, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, why do we need?
But were American oil companies didn't control their, or did they? I don't know.
Believe that American companies were still involved. Let me double check. Yo, what's up, Mike No Go Zones? Mike has been itching to argue with a Maduro supporter for such a long time, so I'm happy that you're here. Feel free to say your piece. By the way, somebody asked how old do I need to be to join? Just put in a request to join, and I'll accept you.
Hey, Paulie. Yeah, thanks for having me on. Hey, I got a question that no one's addressing at all. When Maduro was taken, his personal security detail was made of all Cuban special forces. So what does that tell you? He either didn't trust his own people, or Cuba is the one pulling the drawstrings on that regime. Because what country puts another country's to guard your president? That is insane.
Who knows?
And thank God all 32 of those pieces of garbage are dead.
Okay.
Wait,
I'll say, God bless our military. God bless President Trump.
They all died?
Yes, all
Is
32
this like
of the
a
Cuban
sermon
special
or
forces.
something?
Well, I'm no pastor and I'm no priest, but hey, I'm just saying what I feel. I used to have relatives in Venezuela, and I used to past tense had, because they can't live there. They had to leave. They're exiles.
Okay.
And that's why I feel bad.
I never said Maduro was a competent or good leader.
I feel bad for Maduro, actually. And I feel bad that I feel bad for Maduro, because I hate to empathize with like evil dictators. It's just, I've seen so many funny videos of him online dancing. And he seems to have like this great sense of humor. He just seems like someone's like sweet grandpa. And I have a couple friends in Venezuela.
He's the quirky uncle.
Tell that to his political victims. Tell that to the prisoners in La Tumba and to the Sabine. Tell that to them.
Like we're such angels, right? We've never heard a fly. Come on.
Well, listen, no one's perfect, but come on. At least perfect. I can.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, come on. This like whole moralist grandstanding is such fucking bullshit. I can't take it.
What do you mean though?
Poor baby.
Go live under a communist country.
Yeah.
I just said Maduro is a really ineffective, bad leader. And I think if you want to be happy that he's gone, that's fine. I just think to act like, oh my God, we saved the planet, we saved Venezuela. Like, come on. Their country's not going to get better overnight because Maduro's gone. Like,
it's not going to get better overnight, but
it's a step in the right direction.
And it was a crucial step. You couldn't get to a point of things getting better without Maduro being gone, right? In an ideal situation, what we'd have right now is we'd start to have an actual democratic process in place where Venezuelan people are actually able to vote for a new leader. Venezuelans have not been able to vote for a leader for 26 years now, right? And so even if they vote for what's her name, Elsie Rodriguez, like okay, like if that's her decision, that's her decision. But at least they're able to exercise their will. And
we'll see about that. We'll see about that.
What do you mean?
But didn't they vote for Hugo Chavez?
They voted for Hugo Chavez in 1998, and they've never been able to vote again.
Oh, it's 98.
That's not true. That's not true.
Yes, it is.
Hugo Chavez.
That is 100. Paulie's right.
Aided a constitutional amendment in 1999 that Hugo Chavez put in place, overturned the Pito Fijo agreement that he put in place in 1965, and basically stopped free elections in Venezuela. That 100% happened, man. That's
okay. Then fair enough. That's how that played out. Then
that's literally the issue that people have is that people aren't able to vote. If people were able to vote for Maduro and they kept on voting for Maduro every 4 years or every 6 years, I don't know how many years, then like I would have no problem with Maduro being in power. I mean, he's a terrible leader, but people are allowed to vote for their terrible leaders. The problem with leftists is a lot of times you vote for leftists and it's the last vote you're ever able to cast. And this
exactly.
And this is the thing that happens everywhere. So, for example, a lot of leftists will like shed crocodile tears. Sorry, I'm a little sick right now. about Mossadegh in Iran and say, oh, he was a democratic elected leader of Iran in 1953, but none of them ever tell you the fact that he got rid of free and fair elections too. Allende in Chile got rid of free and fair elections, right?
Yeah, but like a lot of those people were then replaced by like extremely brutal, even worse autocratic dictators that were like monsters.
Who?
Pinochet and the Shah.
How many people did Pinochet kill?
I don't know, at least a couple.
Not enough.
No. It was not a couple thousand.
50,000, 60,000, 70,000.
Nope. It was 1,000. No.
Really
Wait. I'm about to tell you the answer.
I am.
It was 1,352.
Okay, that's bullshit. No one.
Look it up.
There's no way that anyone thinks that's true.
Look it up. If I'm wrong and I'm confused with something else,
1,000 deaths.
how many people did Pinochet kill? Let me look it up right now.
Look it up.
The
Yeah.
country was thriving.
No, it wasn't thriving. What are you talking about? They had 300% year-over-year inflation from 1970 to 1973. What are you talking about? They weren't thriving.
I'm talking about Pinochet.
Oh, sorry. 3,000 people.
Fix the economy. Pinochet fixed the economy.
3,000 people were killed. So it was 3,000 people. It wasn't 50,000. It was 3,000 people. I was confusing that. I was confusing the number with someone else. I think it might have been Brazil that I confused with. I apologize. So 3,000 people were killed under Pinochet, right? And the economy was thriving. And the reason why why Chile is so prosperous today is because of Pinochet. And everybody admits that in Chile today. And had we kept it Allende, who, by the way, was backed by the Soviets, it's not like there was a free election. Allende had $1 million wired to his personal bank account by the Soviet Union, right? Chile would look like Venezuela today, right? So what are we talking about here? Like
Pretty much.
our coups in South America have, generally speaking, helped the countries. Now, in the Middle East, it's a different story, obviously. But
Wait, are we sure about that statement though?
what?
What about all the death squads like in Nicaragua and stuff like that? Haven't there been some absolute monstrous atrocities perpetrated at the hands of US
Nicaragua was a civil war
Under the Sandinistas?
Yeah, but we were
Talk about the
supporting
Contras. It's about the Contras.
groups.
That was a civil war.
But in Venezuela too, right? I'm not super informed on this, but
Yeah.
If you look at Venezuela, nothing's changed. It's the vice president became the president, the same generals, the same police.
Bro, it's been 2 days.
Nothing has changed there.
It's been 2 days. What are we talking about here?
No, if we need change, we're gonna have to put boots on the ground, and that's not happening.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. So that's why I was so confused why everyone was celebrating.
It's all a joke, man. It's all for the cameras. Everything Trump does is upside down.
What
Thank God that nobody got hurt from us going there and doing that. You know what I mean? But
are you talking about? He's gonna put.
What I'm talking about, let's say Maduro would have had a heart attack 3 days before, right? And died, right? His vice president would have became the president just like now, and nothing changed. Taking Maduro away doesn't change anything.
Actually, it does, because now he's going to sing like a canary. He's going to tell us where all the bodies are buried. He's going to tell
What
he's going
body?
to
What are
sing.
you talking about? What
He's
body?
going to sing.
We're
What's
gonna.
up, lady,
What
by
are
the
you
way?
talking about?
No.
Are you
Okay,
now?
okay. Can I just say something as somebody who's currently in
Wow.
Venezuela, and as a Venezuelan Colombian?
Right.
So Johnny, whatever you're saying is 150% wrong. First off, the vice president isn't even in Venezuela anymore. She ran away.
She's
to
here.
Russia.
She's on the news
So
right now.
that's
What are you talking
what-
about? She's
what
in
I'm
the
just
hospital
saying.
right now.
But here's the other thing.
Dude,
First
you're
off, there
delusional,
has
buddy.
been
Go
no other
back to
government,
Medellin.
no other leader of any other country, no other leader of any other country has done anything to help Venezuela in the last 5 years, contributing to the people. So here's the thing: most people in Venezuela right now
We helped
are
ourselves. We
not.
went there
They're
because
very
of the oil.
split. They're very split about if they want to support the actions of Trump or not. But I can tell you
Right.
that most people, regardless of the explosions, the bombs, and all of that, are very much in support of this because there has been such massive genocide. There has been such
Buddy.
massive
Okay,
attacks.
there's not
There's been
been a
such
genocide
massive
in
attack.
Venezuela.
Anything is
Buddy, you
basically
delusional.
better than Maduro.
The
at this
only
point.
honest thing Trump has said, I don't know, in the last 50 years, he said it clearly, and he said it 3 times for you but apparently you didn't hear it. We are here for the oil companies to take over. They haven't.
But that's the same way it's always been in Venezuela. The oil companies have always
Yeah,
grown.
they
The only
didn't do
difference
nothing for
was-
the
no. The only difference was that when American companies ruled the oil companies in Venezuela, the people at least got money from it. Under Maduro, none of the people were getting money.
Wait.
So most of the Venezuelans, to be very honest, don't
But
give a
that ain't
crap
happening, buddy.
if
That
don't
ain't
give a crap
happening.
if Trump comes in and takes
Wait,
it
The
and does it
same
all of it.
vice president.
Wait,
is the
mid-century
same
kid, can I-
It's
military.
not
can
the
I-
same vice president because the same vice president isn't even in power.
She's
Can I-
in
How
power.
is that
What are you
possible?
talking?
They
Look at
have
the
a whole entirely
put
new
her on
election.
Fox News. What are you talking?
Yeah, she's the president of the country right now. So how she?
So
She is not going to be the president of the country. She's about to be overthrown. The entire government regime is changing.
Yeah, and the
So there's
general's gonna
local
change the
news and then
general.
there's
Already
international
Wait, guys.
news, and
push
you guys
aside
aren't
time bomb.
privy to all of that. But I'm telling you, at least the difference was 8 years ago, before all of this bullshit started with Maduro, right? There was a ton of American oil companies, the same American oil companies that want to come back in now. At least back then, they gave back to Venezuela. Maduro took all of that away, 100% privatized oil, and he took everything away from the people and made it so the only source of income with oil went directly to the government, not at all to the people or none to the general oil companies that were contracted to work with the U.S. companies. So
He's
that's why
giving-
so many
what are you talking
so many
about? He has a
Venezuelans
deal.
are all for this.
What are you talking for? The last 4 years, he has a deal with Chevron where he splits it 50-50. What are you talking about?
That's what I just said. Maduro exclusively. He is cut out. He has single-handedly privatized only for the government access to oil
Right, for
money.
the generals, for the police chief, for his people.
No, that's not how that works. The money
Yeah, that's
doesn't
how
get
it
split.
works.
No, he controls the oil. The money from the
He
way
gives
the money
money
gets
to all his
distributed,
people.
that's his decision. But I'm
Right.
talking about there are massive oil companies in Venezuela that have existed for 20, 30, 40, 50 years that all got shut down and taken over by Maduro.
Yeah,
Because
and who
he did that.
cares? Who's crying for a big company? Are you?
I'm crying for the Venezuelan companies that gave money and contributed to the economy. I'm crying for the
wait, Johnny, wait, guys, stop for a second. Johnny, I don't know what your point is here. You have a Venezuelan person here telling you that the Maduro government.
He's
shut the fuck up. I'm talking.
Fuck you. Your mother sucks my dick.
Okay, he's out.
What a jackass. What a jackass.
But does everybody understand what I'm saying? There's a difference between single-handed privatized oil, which is what Maduro did, and then general public assets.
I understand.
Exactly.
I'm with you.
So
I'm with
the
you.
thing
I'm with
is
you.
here, right? I don't give a shit about if Trump's a good person or a bad person. The only thing that the people of Venezuela care about is that the same opportunities that were given to them before Maduro single-handedly privatized oil and assets is what happens now. And that's exactly, and people are saying, oh yeah, Chevron, Shell, BP, all of these people are going to come in. Yes, of course. That's what happened 8 years ago. But it was better because at least then the oil companies they were working with and the miners and the distributors were all Venezuelan.
Right. They could
by
get
the
a
way,
job. Their families.
By the way, I just
Their
want to say
families.
something that, like,
Exactly.
the reason why I booted him is because this is my live. If I tell you to shut the fuck up, please shut the fuck up and don't tell me to go fuck myself. I think that's fair. But anyway, everybody feel free to continue.
That's my only point. That's my only point. That's the only thing I wanted to say. You know, as somebody who currently living in Colombia, but you know, sees all of this every single day. You know, everybody's under this opinion that, oh, nothing's changing. Actually, yes, hospitals are reopening. There's accesses that we have insurance. It's called Sura. It's the public insurance. The public insurance offices are opening again. There are so many facilities and so many things that have been closed for so long that are now becoming open because all of the generals and the people who were basically blackmailed into be part of this Gestapo regime are now, you know, rebelling and saying we need to give back to the people what they used to have.
Yeah,
So,
my wife is Venezuelan, and the entire family group chat was going crazy all day Saturday because of this. One thing that is concerning is that right now there's a huge run on the grocery stores in Venezuela.
Oh, the grocery stores, the banks, everything. It's horrible because right now people are thinking that, oh my God, well, you know, we have to get everything we can because, you know, the United Nations isn't going to come in. But the problem is in Venezuela, they're cut off from a lot of general telecommunication companies, right? So they don't know, a lot of them don't know that the United Nations does have plans to come in, provide support, open up, because what a lot of people are saying is, oh, it's Trump. It's a lot of it, yes, is Trump, but the United Nations plays a huge role in general in opening the borders to access to food, access to money, access to all of this stuff. For instance, the banking laws that we have that prevent Venezuela from receiving things like PayPal and stuff like that, those are all declarations of the United Nations. Those aren't declarations, those are embargoes and declarations of the United Nations. Those aren't directly to do with anything like America or one country. So now that the thing that people need to realize is now that Maduro is no longer president, even if they put a shit president in there, if it's a legitimate president, Venezuela now gains access back to the access to the things that the United Nations provided in the past.
I think the most important thing, and we kind of made this point earlier, right, is that like if the Venezuelan people were voting for Maduro, that would be one thing. The issue is that since 1998, Venezuela has not had a fair election, right?
Correct.
So
this is 100% true. But the crazy thing.
Wait, Aiden, what's up?
So I think what you said about the elections being fraudulent and there not being an opportunity for Venezuelan people to elect a leader is totally valid. However, do you think it's a reasonable precedent to say whenever there's a country that's not holding elections, other countries or more powerful countries can go in and essentially just regime change them? Because by that logic,
that's insane.
Could you let me finish my point?
No, I agree with you, Aiden. I 100% agree with you. I 100% agree with the point that it's insane that, you know, a country comes in and completely overthrows power, but there's a difference, you know, for instance, like if you were to go to places where, you know, like Russia, for instance, right? And you were to just completely overthrow the government. Or Saudi Arabia, exactly.
There's a lot of U.S. allies that are dictatorships.
Exactly. But the difference is the people can leave. The people in Venezuela, I don't know if you know, but as to basically leave Venezuela, there is no legal way. You have to pay about $600 USD just to get to the border, and then you have to pay the police at the border another $600 USD. Like there's no way for the people to get access to anything they need, or even go to another country.
Well, I also think that there's a more general point, right? Like I think you're right, and this is the thing that, you know, is kind of troubling me about it, right? Is that like, you know, where and how are we able to intervene? I do think that there is a real credible argument to be made that the Maduro regime was demonstrably hurting U.S. interests, not just in like a geopolitical sense, but also like a large percent of our migrants in the United States were fleeing Venezuela. And it's like, well, if we have to take all these asylum seekers in order because your government is fucking up so badly, I do think we start to get a little bit of interest.
Sanctions played any role in that too? I know I'm not saying that it's the sole reason for their economic woes, but we were essentially trying to commit economic warfare on them, maybe for valid reasons in some people's opinion, but that certainly only escalated any immigration
but
issues.
all of the
I think it's a fair point.
all of the preventions were all run through the United Nations. So here's the thing:
No,
there were compromises. There were
we are the one.
We control the United Nations. He's completely right. Like, you know,
but I'm saying, like, you have the wealth. Okay, so here's the thing: there were welfare compromises that were offered to Venezuela, right? They had for instance, right? If you open up this type of access to the people of Venezuela, we will give you this type of, you know, assistance, right? But at every point, Maduro just turned it down. He said, no. So at what point does it then become this man has obviously none of the welfare of the people in mind, right? So we're just going to cut them off completely, because it didn't matter what the United Nations said. The United Nations, I forget the exact compromise they tried to make, but they tried to do like hospital relief and stuff like that. And he's in return for opening the borders to like the U.S. to come in and do general inspections. And they said, no, absolutely not.
I am not extremely informed on the exact conditions of each sanction or whatever, but I do remember hearing years ago, like 5-6 years ago, before Maduro's more recent, extremely fraudulent election, his first election that was, you know, at least seemingly less fraudulent and people weren't quite as up in arms over. I'm pretty sure there were already sanctions in place at that time, and there was some sort of stipulation that if he brought in like some sort of third party,
observers,
there would be a sanction relief, and then he tried to like invite them, and then we just basically said, fuck you. Now,
No,
maybe
what
that's
he
not true, I'm
tried
not
to do
remembering
is
it correctly, but-
he tried to bring in a third party advisor that he said, I will decide who the third party advisor was. And if I'm correct, I could be wrong, it was China. And
Okay,
China
I mean,
didn't
if that's
meet
the case, then yeah, that's bullshit.
and China didn't meet, what was being asked of the UN.
I think it was the American, what's the organization called? The American States, something American States. I don't remember, but I don't think it was
Ryan
China.
just joined. I just want to give him a chance to talk quickly, and then we can go back to free for all.
Hey guys, name's Ryan. My grandfather was actually a ministry leader for the health department in Venezuela before the financial crisis and Black Tuesday. I wanted just to chime in. Obviously, I have family in Venezuela, and as a Venezuelan, some of the things that were happening that isn't really prevalent in the news that also pushed Trump's hand. Venezuela was sending uranium directly to Iran in recent years. In the last year, Chinese exports of oil increased by 20%. China really was getting a lot of their oil from Venezuela, and the price of petrol here in the United States was decreasing. So I completely wholeheartedly agree that Trump did this for financial reasons, but Venezuela would give all its oil again to have meals. You got to understand that there was cash in the streets of Venezuela. Hundreds of thousands of bills were just blowing the wind like tumbleweeds because their cash value of the bolivar was so low. They can take all the oil as long as they free the people who are getting murdered constantly by a corrupt government.
Amen to that, brother.
Can I ask the question? How influential is China and Russia in Venezuela? Are they entrenched
Massively.
in
The only source of income Venezuela's had for the last 5-6 years primarily is Russia and China. And it's all been, Russia's been utilizing the gold trade and China's been utilizing the oil.
Yeah,
so I
there's
mean, mind you, you put two massive players in there, and then you make an alliance with a dictator who has 100% control over all natural resources. I mean, that's what's going to happen.
There's a video that was circling around Venezuela on Instagram. My wife's Venezuelan, so like half my Instagram feed is now Venezuelan Instagram, and it was some guy being asked like, "What do you think about the United States just being in Venezuela for the oil?" And he was like, "Why are China and Russia in Venezuela for a repo recipe?" But like it is the truth. They literally just in the minds of the Venezuelan people, it's like, look, China and Russia have been running our country for the past 26 years. Yeah, Americans are just here for the oil, but at least that's better than poor management of the country. Mark, you put some roses in the chat. Do you have something to say?
America's not coming in and completely privatizing the oil. So the thing that people need to remember is that China comes in and they build their own internal infrastructure within Venezuela. They don't hire Venezuelans. They don't utilize any Venezuelans for any of it.
Yeah.
Right? They utilize 100% of their own people. Or the people that are Venezuelan are forced to work there for free. So for instance, like America, if America wants to come in and utilize all the oil, great. But legally within the United Nations, they cannot do it directly. They cannot privatize the oil mining. They have to use the local companies.
UN laws, it would have already, none of this would happen.
My wife says
I
that.
would like to say one more thing about how the geopolitical situations happen in every country from the superpowers, if you guys don't mind. Just a quick lesson on what's happening. For example, in Argentina, the United States just purchased $40 billion of Argentinian currency, the Argentinian peso, to do an economic bailout. What this essentially means is that we give them 40 billion US dollars and we convert their currency into our currency, essentially making them run on the US currency. China was doing this to many other countries in Africa. So they had economic power over several, and they still do, several countries in Africa, and recently have been making a play for Central and South America. That's why the Panama Canal was given to China recently. And Trump was furious about that.
Wait, Ryan, can I interrupt for a second? I have to go to the bathroom quickly. I'm going to rush out. I'll be right back in. If you guys wonder where I am. All right, continue.
Yeah, so that I'm just pointing that out because at the end of the day, this is an economic war that we're facing with China. And for countries in South America, we needed to reclaim some of that sovereignty. China already has many hands in Colombia. We have a hand in Argentina. We wanted to reclaim Panama. We're definitely reclaiming Venezuela. and Brazil
But
also
think
is
about how
in
you
the hands
just
of
framed
the
that. That was
socialists.
from a U.S.
But also, if you
You
look at the
just
recent elections in
completely
South
removed any
America,
sense of Venezuelan self-determination from the way you talked about that statement, right? Like it was about what serves the U.S. interests. That was the foremost importance in your point. Like I don't know. To
China's
me, you're
doing
talking
it
about what's best
at
for
the same
Venezuela. That
scale.
shouldn't-
Would you
shouldn't be
rather
saying
them
that.
do it and us not?
It has nothing to do. It should be up to Venezuela who they want to ally with and who they want to partner with. In my opinion.
yeah, but they're partnering with the U.S.
We have the Monroe Doctrine.
Like the
where
people
we-
want to
where
be,
we control the hemisphere.
they don't want Maduro.
Well, the truth is that it's a small player, and that's not how the world works. It's either going to be controlled by somebody else or America.
Clearly.
I mean,
No, you're right.
That's
are.
the same
That's
way
not-
you get your check from
I mean,
your
it's not-
employer. You know what I mean? You go to a job, you get a paycheck. The same mindset here, except countries.
Yeah. But the thing is, when we morally grandstand and like wag our finger at China and Russia, we use the language of world order, international law to say, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. But then we are going to go and do whatever the fuck we want and it just doesn't make any sense. It's so hypocritical. That's my point.
Yeah, that's the problem I have with it, the whole hypocrisy of it. I am happy for the Venezuelan people. It's just like America would never try that on like North Korea or Russia or China. Stuff
Yeah,
like
because
that.
they have
It's not
nuclear
an
weapons.
existential threat.
There's two
Not-
ways
not
that
in
war
our
is being
backyard.
waged, guys. There's two ways that war is being waged. It's either with weapons, like we did with Venezuela, or with money, like we did with Argentina. China's doing the same thing. They're going to go weapons on Taiwan, and they've gone with money and any countries in Africa. We just don't want to lose that race at the
We
end of the
actually
day.
helped Argentina. We didn't commit economic warfare against them. We helped them.
I know
We
what you're
committed
saying,
economic
but yeah.
warfare against Venezuela. We were sanctioning the fuck out of them, whether that's something you think was good or bad. But us bailing out Argentina isn't economic warfare. That's a fucking.
It's good for Argentina, but it's really bad for us. That bailout
It
of
is,
Argentina helped
yeah.
the United States very
I
little.
think it was a terrible decision, to be honest.
Katsuki, you wanted to say something?
Absolutely. I think that it's a wonderful opportunity that Trump got and he took it. And I'm in full support because of the oil money of the President Maduro. He didn't invest enough money into oil extraction, but we know Trump will, and at least some of that money is going to go to the citizens and residents. So I think it's more than worthwhile.
Awesome. Mark, Wildchild, Shackflow, Mike No-Go zones.
Yeah, like about Argentina, right? There are people saying it's not economic warfare. Look, if Argentina ended up in a crisis right now,
I'm going to head out. I
Then
appreciate you
Malay,
guys listening and your time here today. God bless all of you.
bye.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, have a good one.
If Argentina wouldn't have been bailed out, then Malay would have lost popularity because Argentina would have had an economic crisis. And what would have happened at the end of the day would Argentina would have again a communist a socialist government after Malay, and
You're just
that would
looking
put Argentina back into BRICS, which is in alliance with Russia and China in this case.
Okay.
So it is kind of
Because-
economic warfare in
Then
certain
fair
sense.
enough. If their U.S. aligned capitalist government failed them that badly, that led them into a massive economic crisis.
Wait,
and you blame them for
wait.
wanting to try something else, like good God.
But Aiden, do you know what happened with that crisis? Like
With the way we bailed them out, or how it developed?
how it developed?
Argentina has been mismanaged for decades. I'm not trying to say
No,
it was
no,
all Malay, but-
I know, but do you know what specifically led to that specific crisis?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I believe it was a currency collapse, right?
No. So it's actually funny because like this goes to one of the general points that I'm making is that you only hear a lot of the time about the thing that the United States did, and you didn't hear about the stuff that everyone else did, right? So what happened in Argentina is that there was a Buenos Aires municipal election, right? And they roundly rejected Milei's string of candidates, right?
Oh, I did hear about that, yeah.
And so there was, and so the banks, primarily led by left-wing European banks, basically started, shorting the shit out of Argentinian currency, doing economic warfare against them, basically saying, based upon these election results, we don't think that Milei is going to keep on, with this experiment, yada, 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 right? The problem with that is that judging Milei's ability to win re-election in the next election off of Buenos Aires municipal results is basically the same thing as judging Trump's chances in 2024 based upon the results of the New York City mayoral primary, right? It's Buenos Aires is basically New York City in Argentina,
I understand.
right?
You're right about that.
And so, yes, is what Trump did with Argentina like a good thing? I mean, we can have a whole conversation about that. I'm very much a non-interventionalist, so I don't really like us doing that type of stuff. But it wasn't like an economic warfare type of thing. His basic attitude was like, "You guys are fucking with us. We're gonna fuck back. We're not gonna allow ourselves to just be fucked with." You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I don't think what we did was economic warfare. I think it was generous, to be honest.
Yeah. Here, I'm
I mean,
gonna.
that's our taxpayer dollars going to Argentina.
We gave him a
No
fat
reason.
check, basically.
And while our roads are crumbling, our schools are crumbling, I mean, we don't have health care in this country, and we're out there, bombing Venezuela, bombing Nigeria, giving money to Argentina. I mean, if anything, nobody can say Donald Trump is putting America
Well,
first. That's
I
for
think there's
sure.
something
He's putting
another big
everyone else
check
first.
you're forgetting.
Real.
I mean,
The bombing
sorry, Mike.
Nigeria was against ISIS, by the way.
Well,
Yes,
I mean, Wild Child, I do agree with your general point. I do think that there's a much stronger argument to be made that us taking out Maduro didn't really cost us that much in the long term if it allows U.S. oil companies to enter.
It's been 2 days, like you said.
Yeah, but I mean,
They moved the whole
it's
fleet. Do you know how expensive it is to move a whole fleet? A naval fleet to the coast and enforce a blockade and embargo to chase down some oil tankers. I mean, that can't be cheap at all.
sure, but like,
That's a
how
lot of
much
our
is it
taxpayer
really?
dollars
Like,
going over there.
it's not really contributing that much for $27 trillion debt. You know what I mean? I'm understand like all things considered, it was very low touch and high reward, right? Like our
Not only that, we lost 0 soldiers.
No, I mean
Zero.
it's they didn't, they took out Maduro, but the government is intact. I think that they're way in over their heads. I mean,
It's not.
nothing's going to change.
our policy with them
It's not
the
intact.
vice president. So
No. Our
It's
policy with them is like, look, you need to start holding elections, and you need to allow U.S. oil companies into your country, which is going to help American businesses, right?
yeah, I mean, Venezuela has had
disagree with
elections.
you,
Somebody said that
Charles.
Venezuela hasn't had elections in 26 years. That's false. The only fraudulent election,
Yeah, but they're rigged.
was the last
They're
one.
all
I mean,
rigged.
they weren't. The Carter Center was observing all the elections up until 2020. And I mean, honestly, if you look at this last election, how can you have free elections, under economic sanctions and, where, basically anybody who does business with Venezuela is then sanctioned. So, how
What does that have to do with
how can we have
elections,
free
though?
and fair elections in that kind of environment?
What does it have to do with
Economic
elections,
warfare
though?
going on.
What does it have to do with elections?
Yeah, Wild Child. Back to
I mean,
the
so you
topic
create,
were
the
saying-
U.S. comes in, they make it so that, Venezuela can't access the global market with their oil. So of course, people are going to be suffering economically, and of course they're going to vote in the other party, even though the last 5-6 elections before, the opposition in Venezuela is not popular, right?
Bro.
So the U.S. had to create the conditions to,
Bro, Hugo
for-
Chavez
for-
rewrote the
for them to
Constitution in
be on the country.
1999.
Communism created
Yeah.
it.
Hugo Chavez
Well,
rewrote the
Marxism
Constitution in
is also
1999.
Chavez was also
Wild
like
Child.
incredibly popular throughout the country.
Yeah,
for
was.
Wild
decades.
Child.
Housing,
You do not
subsidized
talk
food.
over me.
He started turning the oil revenue into social programs. He, created medical programs in the hills, in the slums. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that they were doing before the economic crisis that's why they have such a base of support and why it hasn't been easy for the U.S. to dislodge this government no matter what they try. So that's
Sure.
why they turn to sanctions.
Sure, but this happens with literally every socialist government, where they take the fruits of capitalism, they spread around the country for 3, 4, 5, 6 years, and then once the fruits are gone, they fall into starvation. This is what happened with Zimbabwe. This is what's
Exactly.
happening with South Africa right now. This is what happened in
Cuba.
Russia, Cuba, Argentina.
Iran.
All these countries had
Iran, the socialist paradise.
all these countries had 5 to 6 years of really prosperous times before they started to self-implode, right? To say that
Because the money runs out.
the money runs out, right? You stop having
Money
people,
runs out.
and also people like the Chavistas put their own cronies into the government who don't know how to run anything, right? So things fall apart.
Those thugs.
You privileged people don't even know what you're talking about. What do you mean? I don't know. Like, you privileged people don't know what you're talking about, bro. My wife is Venezuelan. My wife is a Venezuelan refugee who fled Venezuela, and she's incredibly happy about this. So I'm more than willing to have people argue, like you are, Wild Child, that, like, you know, is this actually an America First policy? Like, is this benefiting America? Those are all fair arguments to make. I'm very happy to hear them. But when a lot of leftists make the argument of like, oh, this is bad for Venezuela, Venezuelan people don't like this. Objectively speaking, the Venezuelan people absolutely love this. You know what I mean?
I don't think you could treat them like a monolith, to be fair, but
sure. I
mean, I'm seeing videos on TikTok of people in Venezuela marching against the intervention.
People in the military dictatorship are marching against a foreign country. Oh, that's definitely like a really free thing that's happening. I mean, come on, you know.
I mean, but it looked like it didn't look like crisis actors. It looked pretty genuine, to be honest. And it's like, I mean, a foreign country tries to impose rule upon you. You think it's going to be popular? Like, you're going to want
obviously the people in Miami are going to be, hate Maduro, right? But there are a lot of Venezuelans still in Venezuela supporting. I mean, we support the government there.
I don't know. My wife's family, even the people who still live in Venezuela, absolutely hate Maduro. The Venezuelans who I know in Venezuela is not a lot, but I know about like 10 or 15. All of them hate Maduro. He's pretty widely despised within the country, actually. You're right. No group of people are a monolith, but some things are pretty close to 100%.
I think it's pretty complicated. It's like if you're wealthy, if you're white Venezuelan, yeah, you're gonna hate Maduro, But there's a lot of people in the slums, in the poor areas, a lot of the black Venezuelans
who can't eat
the government because there was a lot of gains for them. And
but there's a lot of poverty over the past 10 years. What are you talking about? There's a lot of poverty over the last 10, 15 years.
One part of the population to be poor or the entire population?
The Maduro government had really, really aggressive currency controls that were arguably more impactful than the sanctions, where they were putting an official exchange rate for their currency that was so unreasonable it only recently reached something like official being half of the real one. So like just pure mismanagement outside of embezzling oil funds is why companies had to pull out en masse from Venezuela. It made it very hard to do any business. And it's like whether or not people know that or not, or understand it, it still really hurts the economy. And if that can turn around now as well, those types of economic policies, then there should be a lot of improvement in Venezuela just from that kind of like being logical economically.
Question, Paulie.
Go for it.
How influential do you think Havana was over Maduro and Caracas? Like their intelligence, like it seems like they're all over the military.
I think I don't think one was directing the other. I think they're acting in concert together. I think you're right that it was primarily Cuban intelligence that was like running the military, etc. But I also think that Venezuela was instrumental in keeping up the economy of Cuba, which I think is the real reason why Marco Rubio was so intent on toppling Maduro, because now Venezuela can't economically support Cuba anymore, and Cuba doesn't really have any real allies in the world anymore. And that's been Marco Rubio's guiding mission for his entire life. Like I legitimately think that if Marco Rubio can be remembered as the guy who took down communism in Cuba, or he can be remembered as the president of the United States, he would rather be the guy who took down communism in Cuba.
You are 100% right.
Like that's his guiding mission. So You know, I think that
His
that's
dad's,
really
like, dying wish was that, I'm pretty sure, like, to end
yeah.
communism in Cuba.
And I think that this
But it
was
seems like,
the first step towards it.
that is true.
Also, the Cuban intelligence services have had literally like 70 years of experience basically trying to defend against like U.S. assassination attempts and stuff. I mean, that's basically what they were doing during the entire Cold War. So
they are really good at it.
clearly didn't work, but this time, but
Yeah, they dropped the ball now.
definitely.
I saw a lot of memes I found funny where it's like Maduro waking up from like his sleep and hearing Fortunate Son playing. I really hope they actually played Fortunate Son during the raid. Like, I hope that that meme has like permeated actually to the armed forces.
No, they're playing Macarena slow.
What do you guys think his sentence is going to be? Is he going to have like a similar deal to like El Chapo, where he's going to be in prison for the rest of his life?
No, I think he's going to negotiate. He's going to negotiate.
The charges seem really strange.
Did you see there was the one charge that was like possession of machine guns? And it's like he's the president. He's allowed to possess machine guns. He possesses tanks. Like, what are we talking about here?
He has fucking S-300s.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, no, I mean, I think the point of it was to just like, if Maduro is not in power for the next 6 months, like if he's tied up in an American prison for 6 months, then we can spend those 6 months, you know, really negotiating really hard against Delcy Rodriguez and getting free, fair elections, getting other types of concessions. I think the point of that was literally just to say, hey, we need to get Maduro out of here for 6 to 12 months. I don't think they really expect to. No, continue.
Because before this happened, and while we were posturing really hard against Venezuela, wasn't Maduro basically offering up everything? Like, Trump basically admitted as such. He had offered complete U.S. control of oil, mineral, and he would even offer to basically create a succession plan or something. Not like an immediate, I believe.
We can't really hear you that well right now.
So, if this was all about these genuine kind of like foreign policy goals and not just like puffing of the chest, I would be confused by us not entertaining those deals, because he basically offered the moon.
Yeah, I think the important thing was to get him out of there and to change the government. You know what I mean? That was really the most important thing.
The regime is still in place, so we didn't even really do that. At least yet.
Yeah.
48 hours.
Yeah,
I do worry about a lot of the remaining regime members.
That would imply us
like the head of the Ministry of
strikes.
Defense.
What I heard was that this was in the deal with Putin, that the Russians would get Ukraine and then they would let go of Venezuela.
I don't think
Turn
that's
another
true.
eye. You guys heard that?
That would be crazy if we just let them have it.
No, that's what a Russian politician like predicted 5 years ago, but it's probably not that. Like, a Russian politician predicted that Trump would come to power and he and Putin would exchange for Ukraine for Venezuela. It might happen, but
I feel like they have to do something, otherwise it is kind of like they have that VP sworn in Russia, but like they're not putting anyone else officially in. They're not scheduling elections. They're not telling anybody from the former, defense ministry to step down.
And they need to be
I don't
worried
see it.
because there is, the Venezuelan military is not, a world beater, but it's a real thing. You can't have a decaying, collapsing military. That's how you get an Iraq. 10-year insurgency. Like, if you have a huge army with soldiers not being paid, officers not being paid, no one knows what's going on. That's how factionalism and civil wars start, and that's how you get an absolute disaster.
And I think that's the main reason why they kept the current regime in power instead of just trying to topple everybody, is because they didn't want there to be another Iraq. They were like, hey, we're going to topple Maduro and then do this slow transition of power instead of the Iraq method, which everybody admits was wrong.
I don't know. I'm just kind of doubtful because, like, I just don't see how that emboldens and strengthens the legitimacy of the regime. Because a lot of Maduro's rhetorical arguments, at least when I saw him like speak and stuff, was like, look at how much we have to deal with America. Like, they're killing us with the sanctions. They're trying to kill me. They're that's like his whole bit. And while maybe that's true, I think it's true to some extent, but obviously he's been very bad at leading the country at the same time. That kind of emboldens his point a bit, what we just did. So do you think that will cause people to maybe come to the regime's support more, especially if we really seem like we're just trying to fucking control Venezuela? Like, no one wants their self-determination taken away from them, no matter what.
Well, yeah, but their self-determination was taken away for 26 years.
Yes, but it's not the same when another country comes. Like, it's one thing to have.
What do you think Russia was doing there in China? I mean, come on, they've been a slave state under Russian China.
Sure,
and the ones I spoke to,
and that's how most
the ones I've spoke to have not thought that way at all. The ones I've spoke to so far, like I work with a bunch of them remotely, 100% have been not thinking like, oh God, we miss Maduro. He had a great point.
Yeah,
they're just like finally someone did something.
And my wife is Venezuelan. She said the same thing. And the perspective of Venezuelans is that Venezuela has been run by the Chinese and the Russians for 26 years. So in their mind, it's not Trump is taking out their guy and putting in someone else. It's Trump is taking out a puppet from somebody else.
Thing,
wait, what?
I think Maduro has been a bad leader, absolutely. And I'm sure even Chavez has his problems. But to act like Venezuela, the entire 26 years of Chavez has been a disaster. It's just
no. What I'm telling you is that the Venezuelan people do not view Maduro as their president who's fighting against Western imperialism. They view him as a Russian and a Chinese puppet, or Russian, Chinese, and Saudi puppet. You talk to Venezuelans before this ever happened, and again, as someone who's married to Venezuela, and I did very frequently, they'll tell you about how, in this city, it's all run by the Chinese. This city is all run by the Saudis. There are all these Arabs in their country. They'll tell you there are Arabs driving around in Mercedeses while Venezuelans are starving in the street. They view themselves as having been occupied by Russia, China, and Saudi Arabia for the past 26 years, or how many of those 26 years you want to say they view themselves as having been occupied. So right now, they're not viewing America as taking over the country. They're viewing America as we exchange one foreign dictatorship for another foreign dictatorship. Yeah, maybe we're not able to control our destiny, but at least our destiny is going to be a little bit better now versus the other one. Does that make sense?
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, I mean, P Money.
Also, why didn't Chavez diversify the economy when he had a check?
P Money, what's up?
Yo, Paulie, what do you think will happen?
How's it
Paulie,
going?
what do you think will happen in Colombia, in the next elections, because they have currently a socialist president, and now all of the socialist presidents are losing throughout the whole American continent, like the 3 remaining South American countries that have socialist presidents are Brazil, Venezuela, and Colombia. But Colombian elections and Brazilian elections are this year, and now we've taken out Maduro, and everything is becoming capitalist.
Can someone mute yourself?
Will the situation between Venezuela and Colombia end up like in Colombia right now, where there will be a government and there will be guerrilla groups that are communist, and they will also control parts of Venezuela?
I actually haven't been following Colombian elections that much. Has everyone really been following Colombian politics more closely?
Yeah, they hate, all of the Colombians hate the current president.
Yeah, his name's Petro.
Except in Bogota and in the coast, Gustavo Petro. Trump hates him as well. He says he's a narco-terrorist. And they're holding elections this year, so he's probably going to be tough.
Wow, Venezuela. He was doing really poorly in polls for the past year or so, I heard. But past 4 months, since Trump started like Twitter flaming him, he's actually like shot up basically. So his chances are like seemingly better now than they were before Trump started talking shit.
Well, it's kind of, I call it the Canada effect, because literally Pierre Poilievre was going to win the Canadian election, and then Trump started talking shit to Canada, and then Mark Carney now won. And it's like, bro, like
exact same thing.
Can you stop?
And
Like,
with Lula, it happened with Lula too. He wasn't polling that great. He started sanctioning Brazil because they wanted to like sentence fucking what's his name, Bolsonaro, and then Lula's polling went way up because of. Well, that was pretty stupid. Way more stupid than the Colombia thing, but.
Seabass, what's up?
What up, man? I was gonna say that, like, I was gonna give my intake on the situation since I'm Venezuelan myself and I have my whole family's living there.
Go for it, bro.
So I'm thinking, right? Obviously, it's for monetary reasons. It's not just like because Trump wants to do good. It obviously for oil and stuff. But I mean, our reserves have been proven to last for about another 150 years. So, like, my family in particular doesn't have a problem with Trump or America in there. And I feel like the ones that do have a problem are the ones that are receiving government backing, because people over there don't even work. Like that ass just get drunk all day with government support. They don't work. That's also why the economy's so bad, because we have an atmosphere of just lazy people thanks to Maduro and his government back. And to those that say like we're gonna end up like Syria or like Libya or Iraq, they have to keep in mind the sociological aspects of it. Because Venezuela, everyone in Venezuela, no matter your religion, we all identify as one. Like we all have one identity, and that's Venezuelan. We're very like cohesive when it comes to cultures and stuff. We're very friendly. Like we're not religious extremists or nothing like that. Also, geographical matters.
I mean, you've definitely never met my suegra if you're saying you're not religious extremists. Hopefully she doesn't see this. Sorry, continue.
Also, the geographical matters are also very important, since we're literally in America's backyard. They don't have to fight an endless proxy war since we're literally right here. And I mean, they proved it. They got to us in 3 days, and they infiltrated our country in 2 hours and took our president and then dipped. And they got back to New York in a matter of 24 hours.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You're definitely right.
It's not.
The conditions aren't the same, but
The conditions are not the same.
Civil wars can happen in any country. Like,
yeah, but it's not going to happen by default like it did in.
I mean,
it's certainly an outcome.
I've been reading a lot about Venezuelan history. I made one thing that happens to me is that all the videos I spend a lot of time working on, no one watches, and then all the videos I spend like 35 seconds on, everyone watches. But I spent yesterday just reading all about Venezuelan history. I made a video that's just kind of an overview of it. And Venezuela has actually had a lot of civil wars. A lot. I think from 1830 to 1900, 27% of the time Venezuela was in civil war. They then had a coup in 1930, like 1941, 1945, 1948, 1950, 1958, 1961. So I that is one thing that does worry me, is that Venezuela is not, Venezuela is not Mexico. Well, Mexico is a bad example. Venezuela is not Brazil. You know what I mean? It is a country that can very easily devolve into civil war, and that is one thing I'm actually very afraid of.
Yeah, but do you think Venezuela is tribalistic? Because I've been to Iraq. Iraq is very tribal, while Syria, you can't really say that.
Yeah. So
yeah, well, if Venezuela is like Colombia, Colombia's pretty tribal. So if
Tribal, you
similar.
So
Colombia's tribal,
the big issue with Venezuela is that, so the way the Spanish colonized most places, like for example Peru, is that they started out in Lima and they built out from there, right? So everyone in Peru was part of this general Peruvian colonization project, right? In Venezuela, they colonized each area of Venezuela separately. So like Maracaibo, Caracas, Margarita were all colonized at separate times and for different reasons. And they only patched Venezuela together as one administrative district in 1777, right? And so because of that, like for 100 years, most people in Venezuela didn't really view themselves as Venezuelan. They viewed themselves as Maracaiban or Caracan, right? And so that created a lot of tension. And so a lot of the political parties and political factions are really just like regional interest groups that have a political ideology that favors their interests. In the same way of Brazil, right? So, for example, if you look at like an ethnographic map of Brazil and map that onto Brazilian election results in the past 50 years, literally the white people all vote for one candidate and the brown people vote for another candidate, right? That literally is Brazilian election results, right? It's just personal interest politics. So
It's a class thing too.
What?
It's like that's a wealth thing as well. Let's be real.
Well, yeah, I mean, but wealth and race in Brazil are closely tied together.
In any like ex-colonial project, it's gonna be like that, right?
I
In
mean,
America it is.
there are a lot of exceptions to that rule, but I mean, I think you're right. It's generally true.
Individual level, of course, but as statistical groups, not more.
No. I'm saying that there are a few countries that are exceptions to that rule, but I think you're generally correct about that.
Yeah, sure, but yeah.
Like Argentina, for example, that's been because they're all white people in Argentina. So
yeah, that's not even an exception.
yeah, they just committed genocide, so that really helps with ethnic cohesion.
That doesn't really
count. Anyway, where were we? Any other hot takes we have? Oh, we have some people want to join as guests. Have people been enjoying this live so far, or has it been?
Oh yeah.
I want to switch up some of the format of my lives and have a few every week that are just like general discussions. Just because I don't really feel like answering the same fucking questions every single live. I think this is a little bit more interesting. But anyway, A Toriri, what's up?
Hi, how are you guys doing?
Chilling, bro.
Glad to hear that.
What do you have to say?
No, I mean, I'm joining just to hear you guys a little. I'm Venezuelan, and I've been joining a lot of lives today to hear opinions. I've heard many good ones, and I've heard many stupid ones too.
What are some of the stupid ones?
What's the worst one you heard?
That Maduro was good. A group of Peruvians telling me how my country we should have taken Maduro out. That's some dumbass shit, dude. I'm sorry.
I just saw a video of like a bunch of liberals saying that they would rather have Maduro than Trump.
Yeah, I saw that too. It's insane.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier that my wife uses my Instagram a lot, and she's Venezuelan, and so half of my Instagram feed is Venezuelan Instagram. And there have been so many reels that are exactly like that, where it's like other Latinos telling Venezuelans about how bad it is that Maduro left, and then Venezuela is just being like, "What the hell are you talking about? We're so happy about it."
It's disgusting. The reason why that happens is that South America has this dumbass rhetoric against imperialism and the U.S. that unfortunately is still along between lower classes. So when you go online and these people love expressing their voices and their idiocy.
I mean, I also think that like.
I have a question for you.
Why is that idiotic?
Wait. Can I just add one thing first, if you don't mind? Because I think this is something that's not really mentioned enough. But I've seen it firsthand. Being married to a Venezuelan, traveling around South America. I think another aspect of it that's really rich, coming from other Latin Americans, is that over the past 10 years, there's been an insane amount of racism towards Venezuelans from other Latin American countries that has really like made me fucking pissed. Like people have said stuff to me and my wife that I'm like, bro, if anyway,
here's the thing.
And so like for those people to then come around and be like, we were racist against you because you left this regime, and now you should be happy, you should be upset that this regime left. It's like, bro, if you had not been discriminating against Venezuelans so profoundly over the past 10 years, maybe the Venezuelans wouldn't have actually wanted Maduro to be gone as much as they did. I don't really, I'm not really being cohesive with this, but the point is, sorry, continue.
Hi, Paulie, nice to meet you. My name is Edson. I heard the word Peruvian right here, so I entered as a Peruvian. So here in Peru, there's like 2 million Venezuelans that came in because of the Chavez and Maduro regime. It's been the majority of them are good. The majority.
But you have
There's
the
a lot
bad
of
ones
bad.
too.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad people. I can tell. I've seen some of them, like everywhere else. There's a lot of bad people. You know, it's not like there's only them that are bad. They're different. The first people, the first.
I'm sorry, wait, because someone in the comments pissing me off. Wait. Sorry.
No,
Yo,
it's not
Camilo,
about
you're
Venezuelans
saying
coming
that
to the country.
racism doesn't exist towards Venezuelans. Now we're making.
I didn't mute him.
It's against immigrants. It's just xenophobia.
Just don't give him attention. Yeah, at the end of the day, is that the first Venezuelans that came to Peru, they were amazing. A lot of them were professional. They have great jobs here. There's a lot of bad people that came after them. That's the truth also.
Yeah.
But right now, the situation is that Maduro is gone. The United States say, Trump said, we're going to control the country, basically. A lot of Venezuelans are happy, bro. Happy, really, really happy. I got friends that they're professional, but they work here in Peru, and they're saying, finally, we see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yo, bro, I'm born and raised in Venezuela, bro. Don't talk like you know me, bro.
No. I'm
not saying anything.
No. I'm talking to the comments.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I thought you were telling me. No, I'm just telling my experience, with my friends. So they see like the light at the end of the tunnel, and they think that this situation is gonna change their country again for good, and that's hope. I know, and you all know, that the main reason that the United States entered Venezuela is because of the resources, the oil. And right now you see China and Russia saying that that's a crazy idea. Why? Because they're not going to have the oil for them. So are they really worried about Venezuelans?
No. They're worried about their oil
so.
too.
No, of course not. Yeah, of course not. I'm glad we all agree on that. But right now, if you see people from Venezuela happy, bro, let them be happy.
Yeah.
And I understand, Paulie, that situation that you have with your wife where they start attacking her, because the bad part of the people of Venezuela, they also came to a lot of countries. There were some Venezuelans in New York City that were claiming and telling the people that they should give them houses and food and all of that. And the first people that start attacking those Venezuelans were the Venezuelans.
Yeah.
They were telling that they were crazy, that the regime has changed their mind, that they don't know how to work, that why are you coming to the United States? Why are you coming to Peru? Why are you going to Colombia if you don't want to work? You want everything easy. The first people were Venezuelans. I got to tell you that.
Yeah, my wife is called.
A lot of bad things about them, but the reality is that all the comments, the first people that started attacking them were Venezuelans.
Yo, Henderson, you have something to say?
Hi, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, hey, sorry. Yeah, thanks for having me on. I've been listening to everybody here. Everybody actually very intelligent speaking. I think everybody's got some great points. I kind of wanted to come on. Also been following you for a while, Paulie. You have a great content. I wanted to come on. I'm actually not a Trump supporter at all. I've had Venezuelan girlfriends in the past. I've actually been to Colombia a couple years too. And I kind of want to make the comment that not being a Trump supporter at all, I totally agree with what he did here, specifically with regard to taking Maduro out. But I don't think it had to do with oil. I don't think it really had to do with the narco stuff, because they gave him an opportunity to leave. And I think he would have taken it. I think he was probably fairly close to taking one of those options. So if he had taken an option to leave, we wouldn't be in this position now. I honestly believe it had a lot more to do with the international side of it, China, Russia, and possibly the Middle East getting in there. And I think there was a bigger stance with that with regard to other international affairs as opposed to their direct narco-terrorism piece. And also definitely not the oil, because we are not that dependent on any other oil, that we would not be dependent on our economy on that with regard to having to get Venezuelan oil. So that's just my position on that. I just wanted to throw that out there. I really think it has to do with more international issues.
Could I give a supporting argument to
that?
Sure.
If you don't mind, Stoic just joined. If Stoic can talk, and then Tori, if you don't mind going afterwards. Stoic, what's up?
I'll make a real quick point. I see a lot of people here talking about, we're in there for the oil. We're in there for the oil. I have to do some research about the grade of oil that comes out of Venezuela. It's among the lowest quality oil. It's very difficult to refine. Our refineries are maxed out. That oil has zero effect on oil prices from the, in terms of, being able to pump it out to vehicles and to, jets and so on. So it may be able to be used for plastics or other use cases. I'm not a petroleum engineer, so I can't comment on that. But the idea that it's for oil is just an ad hominem that people keep repeating. And it's like a bunch of nonsense, basically, because people, they have the largest reserves. They have shit quality oil. So it doesn't matter how much you have.
You can't say it's complete bullshit when literally the president.
Trump said it. The president said it.
Right? Like, maybe it's not the sole reason, but you can't say it's total bullshit when Trump
it's
literally
the only reason.
I don't
want to say that. Probably the second reason.
all of you guys are right. You guys are right. It's not about the need of oil. We don't need that oil. When I say we, I mean the US. The thing is that the whole fact that we currently had a country in the Western Hemisphere being a bankroll for US enemies, it's a security concern. So yeah, they might not want oil, but halting Russia, China, Iran from getting that oil is crucial.
That's exactly what I wanted to get to. That is, I think, a much higher reason.
Sell it to China.
No, they don't need that.
He said that. No, he said it in the press conference afterwards.
If they do,
we're going to
Trump said a lot of things.
Sure, but like clearly you can't say, Trump is worried about China getting the oil. No, he just doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't give a shit about China buying the Venezuelan oil.
Aiden, but it's a position. You don't want China, you don't want Russia in this part of the world. Basically, that's it.
I mean, correct. Well, what precedent does that? It's called the Monroe. Taiwan is a lot fucking closer to China than Venezuela. They do. The US. China does. Doesn't that kind of give them justification to do whatever the fuck they want to Taiwan? We would lose our shit. Oh, they say it all the time.
The thing is that's where the claims of being drug traffickers comes in. Trump wouldn't have been able to go in with total bullshit. No. Well, first of all, it's not bullshit. It is. There's connections to it, bro.
Sure, but like,
last year,
where are they on the totem pole of drug traffickers as countries?
Dude, like massive.
They're like fucking nowhere near the top. If we want,
they're massive.
No, they're not.
Bro, I actually don't think they're close even to Colombia.
The U.S. government itself earlier this year published like a report on international drug trafficking, and that didn't basically even mention Venezuela. And Trump just pardoned the ex-president of like Nicaragua, I think, that literally was convicted of being like one of the biggest drug smugglers in like modern history. So I think the whole drug thing is clearly a ruse. Like, I don't think anyone believes that.
As I was saying, regardless if they're top or not, it's just the excuse to be allowed to go into the country and do such a thing.
Yeah, that's real.
But isn't that kind of questionable? Why are you? I'm not saying that Maduro was a good leader or even shouldn't have been removed in some way, but it's clearly, at least in my opinion, worrisome when you're creating one potentially bullshit reason after another to overthrow a government. It's kind of reminding me. It's giving me deja vu. You know what I mean?
Bro, you know what is the stupidest thing? It's hearing the presidents of South America supporting Maduro. The president of Colombia
because they all work together.
Bro, Yeah, bro, but you shouldn't say shit because
Yeah,
you're
but
so
they're
close
all
to Venezuela.
stupid, bro. They're all
They're
stupid.
Pedro is so stupid, bro, because he knows Colombia
knows
has
that
a
if
lot of
he
drugs,
could get
and
Trump
he
to
keeps attacking Trump. It's
It's actually
crazy, bro.
Look,
It's
Aiden, I
just-
don't know if you can see the chat, but Lily is saying something that's true. If they may not be like the main center of it, but it's all a network connected with Mexico and Colombia, and we're very sure they're part of it because last year Maduro's nieces were actually in jail on drug trafficking charges, and they were let go on a prisoner exchange. Sorry, not last year, under Biden. So there's a link there already, and that's already a good excuse.
Okay, even if that's
For
true,
us to go
then
take
why aren't we doing the same to Mexico and to
Because you cannot.
Colombia?
Hey, can I interrupt for a second? Edson, I didn't hear what you said, but apparently somebody accused you of bullying, and we're restricted in search results for the next 10 minutes. I didn't hear anything that you said that was bullying, but
did I bully somebody here?
I don't think so. But
No, you didn't bully no one.
but that's what the
Maybe
algorithm says. But if you guys, I guess, can like make sure you're not bullying anybody, I don't know. I didn't hear anything bad, but I just wanted to give you guys an update because I do want this to be recommended to people. Anyway, continue.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't say anything bad.
Yeah, no, you're good, man.
No,
I just wanted
he was
to.
just talking about the xenophobe reaction in South America, which is totally valid.
Yeah. No, 100%. Continue.
You know
Continue.
what happens in South America? There's a lot of how you would call it like communist kind of government. They're from the left. Let's call it that way. So when you hear something rational, like something that we all are saying, they go crazy because
I am somewhat of that position. I'm gonna be honest, right? So
there's it's not black and white. There's a gray area, I guess. But
I'm not in the gray area. So.
Okay, that's all right. But there's a part where it says, "Is it okay that the United States enter to Venezuela and take the president?" It's not such a good idea, because all South America is thinking it could happen to me also.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Switch the continent.
Yeah, all the continent, all Latin America is thinking the same thing. And it's probably going to happen to me because it happens in like what, 2 hours?
That's it.
Probably?
That's the idea. That's the whole idea,
2
though.
hours?
That's
They
why he
killed
did
like
it.
60.
That's exactly why he did it.
I cannot say that word. They destroyed like 60 Cuban soldiers, and no American were hurt. So basically, you're telling me that you can enter to any country, take any president, and that's it.
Well,
I mean, I do think that there is a
If
nice
they have an
aspect.
indictment in the U.S. against them, yes. Yes, if they have an indictment in the U.S. against them, then they will.
I wanted to keep talking about what Aiden was saying. How why didn't we do it to Mexico or Colombia? And there's a difference between, for example, let's say Sheinbaum, which is the Mexico president. There's one thing about letting them work, letting mafias and drug cartels work and be corrupt, versus being directly tied to it. I think that's where Maduro messed up, and his greed for money couldn't hold him back to get into it and messed up. His whole operation got destroyed.
I'm not aware of any actual evidence. I guess you said something about his sons having some sort of connection. I don't know much about that, to be honest. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I don't know, but
I mean, I do think there's something nice of sending the message to the world that every single head of state is alive today by the grace of the United States. Like, besides China and Russia, we can go wherever we need to and take out whoever we want.
I think it sounds nice, but I actually don't. Even if you're just looking at it from a sense of self-interest from the United States point of view, which is not the worldview I really subscribe to, even though I am an American, I don't know if that's exactly what you'd want, because it's going to create a hostile environment and an unstable environment. People will be unwilling to trust you if they think you're going to fucking overthrow or topple them at any moment.
I hear that a lot, and then you see situations where stuff like this happens, and then it ends up well. You know what I mean? Like,
how often has it ended up well before, though? In our exploits overseas, right?
you know, I'm not an American. I'm not an American. I agree
can
with
answer
him
that.
to Maduro. He's insane. He's crazy. He was the worst president that Venezuela had. Even Chavez was better than Maduro, I think. But
Well, no
in
shit.
this case, yeah, bro, Chavez was better than Maduro. Maduro was a truck driver and a stupid fuck, basically. That's it. That's what he was.
100%.
And the main, this is my opinion only. The main reason he kept in the power was because I think the military part were taking a lot of the money from everything, the resources that Venezuela have. So they need like a puppet, and the puppet was Maduro, basically. That's my opinion. So
Maduro's not the state itself. He's the face of the state. Like military holds most of the power there because they take all the bribes and stuff, and also the
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Basically, that's it.
Maduro was basically like the face of it. He wasn't
the face. He was
itself.
the face.
So whoever has military power has true power in Venezuela.
That's why right now they put a new president, that lady, and the things, and it's the same thing. And now Trump made a message again today that they said that they are going to control today or yesterday. I think he was saying we're going to control the country again because they are picking somebody that we don't like, basically, something like that.
But you're also confusing the fact that Maduro was never elected. So that you're keeping saying head of state. He was never elected. There's many countries that
Aiden, do you say it's not true?
He was never elected in a fair election. Everybody knows that.
Rigged election, but he
didn't.
wasn't a fair election. He won election.
Yeah, he wasn't a fair election.
My God, there's no way you're saying that, dude.
Okay, was it maybe 100% perfect? Probably not.
Maduro has never won an election.
Are like 100% pure. Probably none. In terms of a relatively fair election, he did win at least a few. I'm pretty sure, right?
No,
like they had third-party bodies in
their third-party bodies.
Their third-party bodies.
No.
Dude, Aiden,
look it up.
You were doing great, bro. Maduro has never won an election in Venezuela ever.
And there's 4 or 5 dozen countries that agree with that statement. So it's not just, that's not an off the cuff. There's very few countries that believe that he has won an election. Only his parties that are cohorts with him with regard to his business dealings that he does, narco-terrorism.
Yeah, you don't lose 90 or 95% of your votes in the span of one term.
I mean, Aiden, but my question is, if Chavez and Maduro were so popular and would keep on getting elected, why did they rewrite?
Not my point,
why would they rewrite the Constitution in 1999 in order to take away the political stability that's existed since 1961? Like in 1961, Venezuelan.
Well, okay, Venezuela was not politically stable at that point in time. Though they had a massive political instability to fail with the coup in '91 or whatever. Like there was a.
You mean Chavez's coup?
Yes, like that. Well, he wasn't like the leader. I don't think, was he?
Yeah, he was.
He was part of it. Oh, he was. Okay.
Oh,
but
yeah, but much later though.
Okay. So Chavez tries to institute a coup, and then he gets into power. He says all these coups that these people are having is creating so much political instability. We need to get rid of the Constitution. Why didn't he just keep the Constitution of 1961? It was working well. It created the.
I don't know if it was.
What are you talking about?
If it was working well.
The 1970s were Venezuela's golden age.
No,
even before the coup at that point, like
no,
into the 80s, the country was in the shitter.
Absolutely not, Aiden. Venezuela had the best time of its life before
in the
70s.
oil.
Yeah, before the oil dropped.
In the 70s and the first part of the 80s.
The oil crisis, the country went to shit.
Yeah, because we were dependent on oil. We had a huge debt. And that just simply what we tried to do to change the country in the right direction simply didn't work. It happened. So that followed, okay, the country started dropping economically. The lower class suffered a lot. And that's what followed El Caracazo and Chavez becoming a figure of revolution.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean the country wasn't the shitter. We were doing amazing.
But Aiden, also Aiden, you can't say as a president, like, oh, the economy's bad, so I'm just gonna rewrite the Constitution. You know what I mean? Like that's not.
Oh, sure. No, you're 100% correct. But I really didn't finish my point, to be fair.
Sorry,
because
continue.
I was going to say there was. I don't think Chavez was some saint either. He was definitely power hungry. He definitely was trying to maybe protect himself from potentially being thrown out of power. I agree with that. But there was also probable foreign threats. Let's be real. He was probably also worried about that. So, to say that Chavez was not incredibly popular and didn't win elections that were not just fucking banana republic elections, it's not true. He did win elections that were real elections.
Yeah, Chavez did win a couple, 100%.
Yeah, we're talking about Maduro though. Maduro didn't win an election.
But you said,
Maduro
you
didn't
said,
win.
Oh, he rewrote the Constitution, and therefore every election since '91 was complete a mockery or whatever. That's just not true.
Well, I mean, an election
was a mockery because it was rigged.
Exactly, an election. The incumbent can be in a situation where he would win a fair election and still rig the election and make the election a mockery. You know what I mean? Like
That's also true, yeah.
a rigged election is a mockery, even if the incumbent candidate is popular enough to win on his own.
But I'm also gonna. They were like just total sham elections. I just don't think that's what happened.
By the way, people saying sorry, can I say one thing? People saying let's get back to traveling. So just so you guys know, I do 5 lives a week at 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., 9 p.m. I'm trying different formats during the week. So this is going to be just Venezuela. Tomorrow we're going to do a live that's just about traveling. So if you want to do travel stuff, it'll be tomorrow. But today is about Venezuela. Anyway, sorry, continue.
Paulie, let's talking about traveling. Did you went to Venezuela?
I've never been to Venezuela.
I heard you.
You're gonna love it. Go to Margarita when you can.
Yeah,
Margarita is beautiful. So
my wife and I are
you
thinking
never
about
entered to
going.
Venezuela because my friend has a Venezuelan wife here in Peru, and to enter to Venezuela was so complicated, man.
Yeah.
When they saw that he was a Peruvian, they put him aside and started asking a lot of fucking questions, and I don't know why.
Yeah,
Because he had the visa and all the
we're
stuff,
thinking about
but he
going,
was so fucking.
but it's like a whole process, and yeah,
It's a long process.
But
a really long process.
My wife's brother lives in Margarita. We really want to go there. Margarita, for people who don't know, Margarita, I mean, I haven't been, but from pictures, it is like the most beautiful place on planet Earth. Like arguably the most beautiful place on planet Earth. And so I want to buy a house there. Also, houses there are very cheap. You can get like a 3-bedroom house in Margarita for like $10,000. It's insane.
Yeah.
So
all right. I do want to say something. And again, I don't think Maduro was ever a good leader. I think he's pretty stupid. I think he's incompetent. I'm just stating what I thought to be the facts. He rigged the 2024 election. The Carter Center, a United States reputable organization, right? They helped verify the 1998 election. That was Chavez, 2000 Chavez, 2004 Chavez, 2006 Chavez, 2012. That was Maduro, right? 2013,
No.
2021, and then 2024, where they said it was rigged. So clearly Maduro also had popular support at a point. He lost it, and because he fucked up and was a bad leader, but he at some point did have support.
So first of all, I want to say that you're being super respectful about this, and I love it because you're the first person that I see that thinks this way and hasn't gone bananas yet. But I want to say, the information that you have is accurate, as in someone that's researching about this. And unfortunately, I don't have any concrete proof to give you, because nobody has it aside from 2024, except for what we know. But there's one key thing that you're missing, and it's that during Chavez's terms, I'm pretty sure in the beginning, the machines that were used to vote were changed completely. They were theirs, and they were controlled by them. That's why we Venezuelans believe that Chavez only won 1 or 2 elections, and everything after that was robbed from us. Now, again, I cannot prove that to you. It's just my word and the word of many more.
Where you say I can't prove it, like that's just
no,
maybe
100%.
You're right, I can't respond to that.
100%.
Maduro won the 2013. It was upheld by the Supreme Court. The 2018 and 2024, the 2018 and 2024 ones are disputed because in
think
He might have got a call or something.
I didn't mute anybody. I only muted one person on here.
What do you think is next for Venezuela right now? Because they pick this lady that basically is the same as Maduro.
I think Trump
doesn't like
really popular.
Who?
Repeat that. Claudia Sheinbaum, whatever her name is.
That's Mexico. It's Mexico.
She's horrible.
Are you thinking about Delcy Rodriguez?
Well, please, you asked if what we thought.
Yeah, so Delcy Rodriguez is the current president of Venezuela. I think that Trump is just gonna, one, his main priority seems to be getting U.S. oil companies into Venezuela, and then two, I think he's gonna push for fair elections within Venezuela. I think those are the two issues. Grove just said she's a member of the cartel.
The Mexican?
The Mexican.
Yeah.
There will be much worse of the Venezuelan elections. A different kind of rigging.
So you, Aiden and Paulie, I think you're American, and Mark, I think.
Yeah, I am.
What do you think Trump's gonna do? Because if with this new president of Venezuela,
It's impossible
What
to get his
happens?
actions.
Yeah,
It's
you
impossible.
can't.
Trump
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
even
the
know what he's
problem,
gonna
right?
do.
He does the approach.
Trump is has a brain of a younger teenager or something. Like, he is very impulsive and he doesn't know.
I can't believe he went to UPenn, bro.
So
Well,
do you
that
think
was like a fucking.
Wait, what?
College
Wait,
graduate.
what happened? He went to the Yukon.
So do you think there's a possibility that Trump says, "Look, okay, I'm gonna let you stay"?
Oh, okay.
Do you think there's a possibility
Give it
that
time.
Trump says I'm gonna let you be the president of Venezuela, but we're gonna put the United States oil companies in Venezuela?
I think
And
that's
if he
possible.
says yes,
The new person, yeah.
Is
I
that a
think
possibility?
Wait.
No,
Give it
Trump,
time.
Trump doesn't give a fuck.
Give it
about
time. Give it some.
democracy or
Give it
anything.
some months of time.
I
Because
just
Trump is
wanna-
gonna have
statement,
way
but I'm not
more
gonna get into
easy
it.
access.
Yeah,
Trump
I
is gonna
just
have
wanna-
way more easy access to Venezuela once
I just wanna know-
the Colombian
I don't
government
think that's
gives
gonna
access
say
to it.
the Rodriguez brothers are also
And
in
if the Colombian government
also
is
in the whole
toppled,
Maduro and Diosdado problem.
then the US can
So
enter.
no, they're not gonna stay. The only reason why they haven't been kicked out yet is because if they get kicked out, they're gonna create a power vacuum, and that's the last thing they want. They have to remain there, and that's what Trump said, to create the transition under the United States terms.
Yeah, but I just want to know if this new president of Venezuela says, "Okay, Trump, put your companies here in Venezuela and let me
If
be the
she-
president."
If she plays her cards right and kisses Trump's ass,
That's
she could be the
that's playing
president
the
of
cards.
Venezuela for life as long as Trump's around. Like,
Yes,
if she plays her
that's
cards
playing
right,
the
yeah.
cards. That's playing the cards because if Trump want to free Venezuela, he should take all that line that follows Maduro, basically. But I don't think that's the main goal.
No, it's not. Well, the thing is, Trump obviously is the one with the power in a way, but Trump isn't really an ideological figure. He just kind of does whatever he feels like.
Yeah.
Marco Rubio is extremely ideological. He is a crazy, well, not crazy. He's an extreme, very extreme anti-communist. He has a Cold War kind of mentality. He wants to rid the Western Hemisphere of any sort of left movement. So he wants to get rid of the left government. I don't even think they're that fucking left or whatever, but that's the seen as left government of Venezuela, right? And Cuba and all these other countries. That's what Marco Rubio wants. And if he could convince Trump that that's, gonna be good for Trump or whatever, then maybe Trump will do it. But
I mean,
that would be
That's not
amazing
his
for a lot of people.
Yeah, it seems like Rubio's main goal is Cuba, basically.
yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
I mean,
hopefully, yeah. In that case, I would say the same thing. Hopefully,
this whole thing was Marco Rubio's idea. Like this was Marco Rubio pushing Trump to do this. Trump doesn't care. I don't think Trump knew where Venezuela was 2 months ago.
No.
Amadeus Travels, what's up?
Didn't
Hey,
Trump
what's
and
up, man?
Maduro
Can
actually
you guys hear
make a
me?
deal a year ago?
Oh yeah, no, I was making a joke, but
No, of course, but they didn't even have that bad of relations to considering the actual diplomatic relations of the countries, at least a while ago.
yeah, no, I mean it was it was tense, but relatively speaking, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't like him and Macron or anything. But anyway, Amadeus Travels, you want to say something?
Yeah, hey, what's up, y'all? Just hope everyone's having a good night. Just joined right now. So, future Venezuela. All right. So, obviously, we all are gonna have different opinions, and I respect everyone's opinion. But it must be highlighted that one needs to be aware, or put themselves in the shoes of the Venezuelan people. And I'm just gonna quickly say it myself. I am from South America. I'm from Bolivia, a country that almost recently fell into socialism, or the same type of way that Venezuela fell.
Oh, dude, I'm in
Literally,
Bolivia
that
right
was
now.
Get the hell out! You in Santa Cruz, like how you were saying?
Yeah, dude. Here's my Google Maps.
Dude, that's what's up. Are you in Equipetrol?
I'm in.
Bolivia was following Chavez like for 20 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and Evo Morales was there. He literally took over 2004. It was following the same steps. I was just there 2 months ago. Oh man, 2 months ago, from the same neighborhood. I've been going back and forth. I'm in the U.S. now. I'm a citizen and everything, but I've been going back and forth to my neighborhood. For the first time ever, there was no bread at the same bakery that's been there for years. There was no bread at many bakeries. There was low shortage of everything. You can look it up right now. I'm sure you can still see it there. I forgot, Paulie. Yeah, the lines for gas, I'm still sure, and it's expensive as shit right now.
They take gas from Peru, from Puno.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
By the way, are there any good restaurants you recommend I go to?
I met a lot of Bolivians that said that.
Yes, that is very true right now. Right now, thanks to Peru, they're helping us out, getting it from Puno through the lake. But it's horrible shit. But thankfully, our president, if you look at it right now, the DA is going to come next week. So everyone, Evo Morales and all the narcs are dead. The only reason, I'm going to be honest, narcs and everything in Bolivia, because nobody's highlighting this online. Honestly, Paul, you want to make a video on this? Feel free, because look, right, Evo Morales, who was the president there for dictator for 15 years, he took everything. When he left about 5 years ago, when the coup happened in the country, he took about 5 Brinks trucks of cash. But it's not because, he sold this and that. No, he's a little narc. They have airstrips over there that are like 2-mile airstrips that are literally just for the narcs. It's called Chepare. You can look it up. It's by Cochabamba, Paulie.
Yeah.
Cochabamba's beautiful too, by the way. I would definitely recommend it. You definitely get Santa Cruz vibe. The weather's pretty nice right now, especially that it's flipped over from here. In America, it's nice and warm.
By the way,
but,
do you have like a restaurant recommendation here?
Restaurant recommendation?
Sorry to derail the conversation, but we're looking for some good.
No, you're good, brother. Oh my, yeah, I'll give it.
Bro, it's literally the thing that I wanted to hear. The fuck?
Super quick for any Venezuelans here. There's apparently heavy shooting in Miraflores right now. We have no idea why, but they're shooting in pretty much the main, let's call it, territory of the government.
Are you in Venezuela right now?
Right now, everything.
No. I just saw it on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
Right now, everything in Venezuela it's a very complicated right now, because I heard some stories about saying that you cannot talk about Trump in Venezuela because they're gonna find you.
They were checking phones today. They were checking phones today. Yeah.
The elements of Maduro are still there, so that's why all those brainwashed people, they're still gonna keep following it. But sadly, everyone's celebrating everything, but this is kind of how it was a couple years back, where they're checking phones, where all the shit happened. Everyone needs to be on their toes and if anything, fight back, because they're on the winning side right now.
Real quick, you were talking about Evo Morales. Tell us who was best buddies with him.
Maduro.
There's some stories about Evo, about flying kids to Venezuela.
Yes, no, he is a pedophile. Yes, that is true. Sadly,
bro,
it's true.
I don't know if we want to make that argument.
What argument?
All right. Okay, I can give you the argument.
No. That is true. Evo Morales, as a Bolivian side, he is a pedophile. He's a pedophile.
That's not something that's only applicable to them.
Oh wait, against TikTok regulations, or
let's not.
Yeah, let's not talk about. I don't want to compromise.
Yeah, I don't want this to get flagged or anything. But
yeah. But
you guys don't mind.
Back to yes. So obviously Maduro's elements is still there. You obviously have seen, and it's all really not for show, obviously, but you can see how Venezuela didn't have no power, no manpower. And if you look at a couple interviews, they got when their other, aka Maduro followers, they have like gear on and they're trying to portray that. No, it's really, yeah, it's obviously going to be a shithole aftermath right now.
Yeah, I mean, people are also scared. Like I have a friend who lives in Venezuela, and I texted her about it, and she said, "Yeah, we want to go outside and celebrate, but everyone knows that if you went into an anti-Maduro march right now, people would take a photo of you, and then in a couple weeks, someone would show up at your door and kidnap you. So people are afraid of like showing their support for America in Venezuela because they know what will happen to them."
Right. I don't know if it's true, but they said they shot down, like on the way out, a chopper shot down the Hugo Chavez statue. But it is true, and I did see on the video that they're literally dragging the Hugo Chavez statue like down the street and like a parade.
Yeah.
So that has to inflict some kind of conflict with the other side.
Long live President Donald Trump, greens from Venezuela. And I mean, the people of Venezuela, at least the people outside of Venezuela, absolutely support this like 100%. I have to say.
Yeah.
I haven't
So
seen a
going back to
single
what I was saying
person.
much time ago. Sorry for cutting everyone off, but I've seen how shit my country was going to. No gasoline. You can barely look. I had family member who they had to go to the hospital. They tell you, there's no space. Oh, there's no more beds, or there's no meds. You got to go find your meds while they're treating you. It's crazy. So I get how people they're against war and stuff, and I respect that opinion, but they have to put themselves in the shoes of people who were going through this shit because they don't care about the oil. They're like, fuck the oil, let America have the oil. They want to be the ability to eat, go to the grocery store, see food there, go to the hospital, not worry about medicine not being there.
Yeah. Well,
I can relate to that friend from Bolivia because people from the frontier, they come to Puno every time to get anything. And Puno is one of the poorest cities that we got in Peru. Yes, imagine how is Bolivia right now.
Yeah, they actually do. Yeah, that's a lot of people. They actually, yeah, there's a lot of commerce in Puno, and there's another little town where they buy stuff and bring it back into Bolivia to do commerce and stuff. But yeah, man, it's crazy. It's crazy shit.
Well, I just want to say I appreciate everyone joining this live. I'm feeling kind of sick today, so I'm going to cut this off at the 2-hour mark. I appreciate everyone coming. What we're going to do, just as like a programming note, is that we're trying to have Mondays be a lot more of an interactive live. So we had the future of Venezuela today. I might have like debates and conversations about other things, but tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it's going to be answering travel questions. Let me know if anyone has any last minute things you want to say about the situation, and then I'm gonna call it a day at 8 p.m. Eastern.
I would love to simply answer the question that Study is having in the comments, if possible.
Yeah,
he's asking if Venezuela is in the Maduro situation because of the Americans sponsored a coup to begin with. I don't know if you're referring to the coup that Chavez did years ago, but no. I'm guessing people are going to think or say some CIA involvement. I don't believe so. It all happened because of a economic collapse that Venezuela had due to the prices of oil. We were very dependent on it. We were also in debt. The economy fell. People suffered. The lower class suffered, and that resulted in a very big protest called El Caracazo. After that, Chavez became this symbol of like hope and rebellion. He did a coup. He lost. He went to jail, and when he came out, he ran for president, and that's when he won the first election.
I also it's really funny like leftist mindset about things. We're like, if the U.S. does a coup, it's bad. If there's a leftist coup, it was caused by the U.S. coups, so it's bad. We're like, everything is the U.S.'s fault, and it's like, yeah, we can argue about what is the U.S.'s fault or what isn't, but not everything is America's fault. Sometimes there are other bad people in the world who do bad things. So I think you're completely right about that. But yeah,
the anti-imperialist propaganda is too big, my boy.
Exactly.
Fortunately.
Well, thanks everyone for joining, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
I want to say
Paul.
thank you because this kind of conversation we don't have it every time.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Thanks everybody.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, Paulie, by the way, that restaurant is called Bisteca. It's a really good steakhouse by Equipator.
Bisteca?
I would follow Google Bisteca, like bistec, like the steak.
Yeah.
But it BICCECA. Yeah, I think something like that. Bisteca. Yeah, it's right on Equipeto on the main street. But pretty much most restaurants are there really good in that area.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. All right, see you
Yeah,
guys
man.
tomorrow.
Join the content. Take care.